Hey everybody, how's it going? It is the Fantasy Rugby Yanks. My name's Jared Dyke.
I'm Ben Glauser.
We are back rugby just on the horizon for us, so not too far off, but we figured we'd get this in with, we got more than enough material to freaking dive into at the very least at this point, right?
Yeah, so let's at least talk about what we know so far so that we don't have a 2-hour show when it comes back.
Yeah, no, I know, because if we started talking about this when it became like June 1st or whatever the kickoff of the New Zealand tournament is, we'd be on here forever. First and foremost, as is tradition, these things up here. Obviously, you want to make sure that you're checking us out on all your favorite podcast apps, and also don't forget about our friends, the Rugby Mag and Fantasy Rugby Geek, when things kick back off this fall. Because I doubt that we're going to see a whole lot of news out of them, unfortunately, for the summer at the very least.
No, and I'm not sure if we're going to get I don't know if we're going to get a New Zealand league
fantasy. I saw FRD try. They said they were going to try, but I am not putting my eggs in that basket.
No, because who knows they're going to do that. There's going to be and I hear there's something happening with Australia.
Yes, there is.
So it's going to be, maybe they could play each other still and kind of limit it that way, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So you don't want to get, I realize how much work it is to set up a fantasy rugby
something like
site.
that.
So
yeah. I'm sure it's I'm sure they want to try, but at the same time they're probably also very realistic in what the possibilities are.
Right, especially because I can't imagine, there's a financial cost to doing that too, and so
I don't think it's worth
how much that's worth it.
Yeah, I can't say I blame them. But we will be starting a Fantasy Champions League next year. Our buddy Duncan Keane has joined us after answering a question correctly on who was our 10 in our all-time 15s.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, I do want to go back and kind of have a look-see at that. Just those that didn't know and maybe wondered, I wonder whose was whose. So our loose, we'll give it a quick rundown. We had the Beast at Loosehead. That was yours.
Yep.
That was your guy. Ben had one more player than I did.
Yay.
So we were pretty much dead down the middle. It was, with 15 guys, it was pretty much going to be a tough. It was going to be hard to split unless we had three exactly the same, which I was surprised we had two. So
right.
Gus Creeview at hooker, that was yours as well. And then I had Martin Castro Giovanni, the Italian. We have two Italians in this team. This is pretty crazy.
Something's wrong with this.
I mean, they're two really good Italians. That's our true. Castro Giovanni's our tight head. Our 4 is Leone Nakarawa from Fiji. That was my guy. Alan Wynne Jones, of course. I mean, who did I put him against? Somebody that wasn't gonna even.
No, it was never.
I don't remember who it was, but it was like, this isn't gonna go well, is it? Alan Wynne at 5. I think I put Manoa. That's who it was.
Okay.
Big Sam. That sounds right. Alan Wynne at 5. Henry Tulane at 6. That was mine. Richie McCaw was mine as well. The second you tried that, I was like, there goes that. Sergio Prize is at 8. That was a no-brainer. And I love Jamie Heaslip. He's a personal favorite of mine, but I knew that
was a personal thing. Yeah,
I knew he didn't have a prayer against Sergio. I was like, yeah, everybody loves Sergio, so that's not going to happen. George Gregan was the 9 that we ended up with. That was your guy. I had Pichot.
Right.
That was a pretty close one, actually, if I remember right. And that was pretty much what determined it, because the other matchups were just going to be way too easy to figure out.
Right.
Wilkinson, we both agreed on that at 10. I had Matt Gitto at 12. You had Brian O'Driscoll at 13. I had Shane Williams at 14. And you had Jonah Lomu at 11. And Stuart Hogg, we both agreed on, was our fullback. Yeah, that was a fun
kind of easy to put your Scotland at with Stuart Hogg there.
Yeah,
you can fulfill your requirement there and be like, you know what, I'll put him at 15 and not think about it again. And
yeah, because you don't want to do somebody that actually doesn't belong at 15 and be like, this feels stupid.
Right.
I'm not doing that. And I actually had Gareth Thomas for a hot minute, and then I was like, oh shit, who the hell do I put at wing? I was like, never mind, I'm gonna pick my Welshman to Shane Williams and go there. So we had 2 All Blacks, we had 2 Italians, and we had 2 Welshmen in the squad. And we probably would have had,
and 2 Australians.
Oh yeah, and 2 Australians. It's true. And we probably would have had 2 Englishmen had we both picked an Englishman that was
Yeah,
not Johnny
probably.
Wilkinson. But when
Mhm.
we both picked different All Blacks, that wasn't named Dan Carter. That was kind
Right.
of
Yeah.
and that's why Duncan figured out who our 10 was. He's like, well, judging by the fact that one of you has already picked an All Black, and you and you both
They have
need
the
to get
same.
have the same
Yeah.
thing, I'm going to go ahead and say Johnny Wilkinson. Duh. And
Smart lad.
yeah, not too difficult on that one. So yeah, and thank you to everybody that participated, especially to our friends Carrick, Sam, George. You guys are awesome for helping us get the
Thank you
votes on that
guys.
one. That was a lot of fun. So a wee bit of player movement since we last talked.
Yeah, a little bit.
So did we was the Malins and Earls thing final by the time last time we did this? I don't think so.
Might have been. Yeah,
Was
no,
it?
we talked about that because
Yeah.
yeah, we had talked about the other Premiership teams being a little hesitant to bring in
Right.
Saris on a 1 year deal,
Yes.
and bring them inside,
Bring them inside. Ooh.
right, and show them. It's like, come on, guys, it's
Yeah.
rugby.
So that of course has happened. Chris Cook's also now joining the Bears as well
He
on his
is.
way out. I mean, Reese Webb, sorry, was kind of one of those things like, oh, I guess I'm not needed here anymore. See ya.
Yeah, I mean, and we got Freddie Burns departing immediately. We got a
Oh my
lot of
goodness.
things happening, a lot of wheels turning in Bath. Right as things are coming out that salaries weren't the only ones breaking the salary cap.
There are a few issues here and there.
Yeah,
Shocker.
Bath losing. I'm looking right now at the transfers in and out, and Bath
Hmm.
have brought nobody in.
Hmm.
They've lost Reese Webb, Reese Davies, Freddie Cook, Francois Lowe's. Well, he's retiring, so whatever.
Freddie
And
Burns,
Chris
Chris Cook. Yeah.
and Chris Cook. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like you're losing all these starters and fairly well paid players, might I
Right.
say. Um,
Yeah.
and they're moving on to other pastures, in some
Hmm.
cases, most cases leaving the country. So
Yeah.
well, returning home for one and going to Japan for the other, which is odd.
Yeah, I found that very, very odd that Freddie Burns decided he's going to Japan. Like, there were a couple clubs that wanted him, but I guess he
I
just.
didn't think he'd do well in like France, but
Yeah, I think that would have been a tempting offer as well. Yeah, so we have that. We knew about Johnny Gray coming into Exeter. Shocker. But they're losing a few guys. Kvesic on his way to Worcester.
yeah, Worcester are building themselves a nice little forward pack.
Not too bad.
I think with that with Kvesic and then with Joe Batley as well.
That'll be nice. Jack Singleton will depart the Saracens for a year and join Gloucester. I think we talked about that a little bit already. And then Johnny May is joining him as well.
They're going to be scary.
Yeah, that's going to be a great team. Reece Zammit and him, and then God, mix in all the other freaking youngsters. Ollie Thorley, Gloucester have a nice thing. Although Johan Ackerman out at Gloucester, very, very odd.
It's odd in some ways, but in others it's not. He wasn't. That's a highly talented team he's got there, and they're just not performing the way a team that's like has that level of talent from 1 to 15 and beyond. It's ridiculous talent, and they're not getting the most out of the players. And I saw a rumor that it wasn't like the reason, but that the players were also kind of they had a hand in this. So there was something that there was a personality clash. He wasn't getting the most out of them, and maybe that's for the best. It could be for the worst, but at some point you got to look at the results and listen to the locker room at times for decisions like that.
Right. Yeah.
That's a team that should be in the finals, one of these years.
Yeah.
They should be getting out of the Champions Cup
groups at some point here too. Yeah.
And they're not. And
yeah, Humphreys will figure that out. I have no doubt about that. He was a special player when he was playing, so I'm sure he's got a decent enough mind to figure this out.
Good.
Yeah, and then so Quinn's Andre Esterhazy, we already knew that was happening. That's going to be there because I rewatched the Quinn's Exeter match, and of course Paul Asike just had a day. That day he scored a try, he helped set up another. So between him and Esterhazy in the midfield for Quinn's, that's not a midfield I'm about to run headlong into by any means whatsoever.
Nope.
And obviously Kyle Sinclair's on his way out, but still a solid team at Quinn's. Guzzi's definitely building something over there at the Stoop.
I like what they have going for them.
Same. Marcus Smith. How can you not? How can you not? That kid's amazing.
That's someone you can build around for the next like fucking 15 years.
God, yeah. So, and then, I mean, the team that you and I are pegging for next year to at least fight, if not possibly go down for relegation.
I'm not sure it's going to be much of a fight. Yeah.
And I mean, Newcastle might have something to say about that. We'll see what Worcester actually is. I don't know. Ryan Mills leaving is not really fun for me to look at, but they're definitely going to be in the contention. They're bringing in Kyle Brink. They're bringing in Nadolo. But really, for me, that's it. That's all they're bringing in. You know, that's and Nadolo's not young.
No,
I like Kyle Brink, and I don't think he's otherworldly though.
This seems very much like a team that. So this really does remind me a lot of the Indianapolis Colts when they sucked for luck.
There you go.
They're like, you know what, we're gonna get some players in to make it. You know, we're gonna fight. You know, we're gonna give it the old college try.
The old college try.
But damn, you look at the players. Like players just outright released. Not even that they're transferring out or that it's kind of their decision,
or some have signed contracts elsewhere without, they'll just be done at the end of this year.
Right.
That's a little different, but yeah,
it still is, but it's not, it's a little, to see this many players to go without bringing anybody else in, kind of tells me that they're going to be playing a lot of their kind of,
youngsters
academies.
Yep. Yeah. Try and bring them along, I suppose. We'll see how that pays off. Northampton are obviously losing. Like a lot of people's favorite player in this league, Kovac Reinach. On his way to France.
I thought you were going to say Ben Franks, but yeah,
he's calling it a day. He's going to coach. He's going to coach somewhere in Wales or France. I see something like that.
Hey,
yeah, he's going right into coaching.
I'm sure.
Sam Hill leaving his brother Johnny from Exeter going to Sale. Rob Weber's calling it time, although I think they could use him a little bit longer in there as long as Van Merva doesn't know how to throw a line out.
Yeah, they're going to need another hooker somewhere in there.
They will. But Wasp signing Ryan Mills, that was a pretty good move on their part from my end. If they can hold themselves off from being tempted by signing more overseas players, then they actually might right the ship after a couple of years.
Yeah,
I think we can all agree they were pretty meh.
Right. They do need to turn it around, and they had some good and some bad this year.
Yeah, agreed. Unfortunately, our boy Joe T on his way out of Worcester, but going to Leon, which is not bad by any means.
Not bad work if you can get it.
No, and he's. I mean, Leon's not a bad club to end up on. So I'm happy for him personally as an American fan. So good on him. So it'll be interesting how that goes about. And then there's obviously other rumors that are getting swirled around about. We know that there's some big names coming in from the Southern Hemisphere to other teams that aren't the Premiership, but we're just running through this one for now. Sneijman is the one that comes to mind right now.
Yeah, a lot of those guys are over in Japan.
Yeah, and they'll
come back or come over.
Well, speaking of, Whitelock didn't even end up playing in Japan this year, so he's probably going to play for the Crusaders in this competition.
Oh, man.
that doesn't seem fair considering how good they were looking for the most part.
Right?
Yeah, that's not fair. I don't like that. Can I get a do-over?
Yeah.
Let's talk about something that you and I probably are both on different sides of the coin on, and it's fine to have different opinions, but it's also good to hear both sides.
It is.
MLR draft, and I'm on the this is not something that's actually worth the time side, and I don't think it's going to be a good thing. And you see more positive than I do, so I'll let you lead with the good, and I'll be Johnny Raincloud afterwards.
Right. So I think this is a good way to bridge the nature of rugby as it is, the kind of diasporal nature of it, where everybody's all over the place. So we have the MLR, and that's great. they're still going to take some time to set up an academy system. So we're in a culture in the U.S. that doesn't at all operate the same way for sports that it does overseas. So there are some sports academies, but mostly that's for Olympic type sports, not for professional sports. And football has it set up one way, and a lot of sports have it set up that way. But it's quote unquote private organizations or some private schools that end up running kind of sports factories. But we don't really have any of that set up for rugby yet. There are certain hotspots for rugby and some quality college sides, but many of those colleges are away from MLR teams. Like Arkansas State, I think Arkansas is a pretty damn good rugby program.
Arkansas State,
right? There's no real rugby there.
Shout out to Stu.
Arizona, great program. Not much rugby. There's no professional rugby team in the reasonable area. So there may be players who aren't like stars that still deserve a shot. There's going to be the people that the clubs all know about. The guys, the big names that'll end up signing. But I think this is good for the leftovers who maybe didn't get seen, but you can bring in and give them a shot. And it's kind of like on a trial basis, and maybe they're good and maybe they're not, but at least it gives them the opportunity and puts them in a pool and can have some of these clubs say, hey, Free Jacks could draft somebody and say, okay, well, look, we want to keep you in the area and have you in our list of players. We're going to farm you out to one of the clubs, and we'll have you develop, just not as a professional just yet. But we want to get you there. So it's ways of getting people in the systems and building those academy-like systems that we can do in America that, keeps more players involved in rugby beyond college.
Yeah, and none of that's wrong, but there's a couple things that for me, and this is as a person that's also a football fan, a soccer fan, this is the method that MLS has tried for years, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we were in Russia for the last World Cup, and that's completely a fruition of this system failing, and because we don't have, and I go back to, and there's a couple ways I can spout off here. I'm going to try not to spout off. I go back to our youth programs in either sport. When was the last time we made a world championship in rugby and even came close to an impact at underage at U20?
I remember, and it was a while ago. So back when I was maybe
right
12, 13 years ago, we had a reasonable U20 program.
Right. And the sports jumped about 12 years. Really, in its own time, it's probably jumped 24 years in a way. So we need to start figuring out how to get these youngsters playing at 16, 17 in systems, not 22, 23.
Right.
So, and as far as the players go that are coming into this draft, that are coming out of this draft, number one, I can't name 10 schools that produce a professional ready player off the top of my head. And that's what you're expecting. And if you're not, you're tying these kids to a team that they did not choose. And you're tying them to, if you're going to farm them out to clubs, this is not a place they chose to go, and if you let them sign for an academy, they at least have a choice and be like, okay, this is where I want to go. And you can move within academies. It is this thing. You can move within academies. Deals are very small and almost nobody gives a rat's ass. So it's much easier to move a player from one academy to another if they're ready for a switch. It just really takes away a lot of players' rights. And seeing what I've seen in other sports and the major issues that are popping up with players' rights, I don't have a good feeling about that. And I also just,
well, the other so my thing with that is a lot of these players won't have much choice anyway. It's not as though if they were, because it's such a it's a sport that's growing now. These are players who a club just wouldn't have bothered if this draft is not in place. they likely wouldn't have access to this. They would be kind of on their own to find a club and hope that it's a club that can train them to be good enough to play at the professional level, and then work their way into another tryout. So these are players who are saying, I want, I'm not good enough to be signed out of college, but I think but this is the
But
path.
that's exactly what a
I
draft
want to
is.
choose.
You want to be signed right out of college. That's exactly what a draft is.
But
You expect to be
this
signed out
draft
of
isn't
college.
everybody.
As a round one pick, you're expecting value out of that. You're not expecting some guy that you need to work on for 3 years and then he's 25.
But this isn't the NFL draft, though. This isn't like they're not signing millions of dollars of deals. This is them saying, okay, we're going to bring you in and bring you into the system. Otherwise, we wouldn't have signed you anyway. Or in the other, if the draft wasn't there, these are for the leftovers. This isn't for like every college. This is not like the NFL.
That's not the way they're touting it, though. System. That's not the way they're touting it.
Of course, it's not the way they're touting it. They want it because they want it to be a draft. They want it to be interesting. They're not going to tell you that, like, oh yeah, this is like the bottom 400 players that we've already signed, however many.
I'm already not okay with this, with the falsehood and stuff like that. I just no. This is a move by MLR to try and grab headlines because they lost their season. It's not a good one.
I think it's a fine one, though.
And
if it works, it works.
It won't work. I can tell you. And if it works, I'll give you $100 right now, and we have it on record. It's not going to work. Listen, you can't. And this is, as far as a development for the national team, this is going to be awful, because you're talking about taking guys that are 22 and you need to take 2 years to develop them. Now they're 24. These guys, the teams that we're trying to compete with have guys just as good as them, and they're freaking 20.
Mm-hmm.
So that's never going to – we're not even going to come close. We need to get guys at least good enough by the time they're 22, 23, not wait till they're 24, 25 and hope and pray that they're healthy for a fucking World Cup. We need to – we're not going to have any David Anuas or TT Lamacitellis in this system. And it's
sure
not going to help.
Because it's the hybrid. They're going to be outside of the draft system. They're going to be involved in this well outside. I mean, we developed Lamacitelli without a draft system. So
because he signed for Saracens. He was in the Saracens Academy the whole fucking time.
Right.
And that's the only way you end up with something like that. The guys like Joe T and Blaine Scully are fucking rare. Those are super rare, where they play football and then they come good when they're freaking,
But that's all we've had to rely on, that and foreigners. So this is just, to me, it's a way to develop the professional game. Has nothing to do with the national side. This is just them saying, hey, let's get our league bigger. Let's get some headlines. Yeah. And in the long run, I mean, this is how leagues are built. There's always going to be some, the players have to get shit on. The owners have to lose some money to start, and they got to work together, and then they'll sort it out when they actually do become a viable league. Then there's reason to change.
Yeah.
But right now it's not that developed yet.
You're telling me that if they find this to quote unquote work, they're going to stop doing it in 10 years?
I don't know, because there's still players that are available outside the draft again.
I say don't start to begin with. Just get your coaching right, get your academies set up so that you can
get some headlines, get people interested.
I'm going to watch 0 seconds of this draft. Promise.
Hey, but it's something to do.
Listen, I'm bored out of my mind. I'm still watching 0 seconds of this fucking thing.
Well, who knows I don't know how they're going to produce it. I think they're just going to probably release the results. Yeah.
Yip-de fucking do. No, it's not something that I think is going to work. It's a headline grabber at best. It's going to be a detriment to some of these players, because they're just going to be, if I'm going from freaking Arizona to New England, I'm going to know nobody. That's miserable life. Oh, and I have to go play for a shithouse club like fucking us? Are you kidding me? No way. No fucking way.
But they know what they're going into it with open eyes. They know what they're doing.
They don't. They know how. I don't think they do. I don't think MLR is presenting this the way that they should. I don't think they're giving them all the facts. I think they're just saying, "Hey, you get to play for this team that picks you." No, you do not. You have to be developed for at least a couple of years to be professional grade ready. And
so we'll see. I don't know, because I haven't seen any of the communications, but maybe they did do that. I don't know.
Yeah, they're not touting it, because they're calling it the Stars of Tomorrow. This is not the Stars of Tomorrow. This is
This is the backups in your program of tomorrow at best.
Yeah. So no, this is not they're completely falsifying this thing. Good God, somebody give me a fucking goddamn phone number that I can call and cuss out at this point. Anyway, I don't agree with it. I think it's going to be an unfortunate flop, and this is a misstep that has already occurred, where we have a team that friggin' was supposed to be a founding member that's jumped already. Like, this is one more misstep in this year, and it sucks. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to games behind closed doors, because this is a wide subject. This is not a rugby subject. This is a wide subject right here. It's so those that are not soccer fans, the German soccer league kicked off, and
I am not a soccer fan, and I watched that shit. So
it was weird.
It was weird.
Really fucking weird.
I had to watch it for the experience, if nothing else.
Yeah, like it was really odd. But and we had this conversation about these, and I will say that soccer fans are a different breed. Holy crap, though. They'll go anywhere you tell them to and do it all day long, and do it with a fucking half a pint in their hand at all times. But I just, as far as these big stadiums that are currently dormant, that aren't, having any activities done in them right now, if we have these events and we find that, hey, watching it at home ain't so terrible, and I didn't just spend fucking $200 at a whack, is this going to present a problem somewhere down the road here for especially American sports?
Well, so here's the interesting thing. So yes, this is a subject that's near and dear to my heart right now, because we're seeing a lot of teams and leagues ask players to reduce their salaries. We saw that with Premiership. Apparently, I saw a rumor that might be a permanent request, or a request for a permanent change in salary. We're seeing that in baseball in America. The clubs are asking teams. They're trying to sort some sort of plan out. Isolate themselves in some desert like Arizona or something, and just play all the games then.
Yeah.
And it's like, and play them in an empty stadium, stuff like that. It's like, a lot of these owners, they're doing it at a reduced salary, but it's like the players are still playing the same games. They're still taking the same risks. They're taking even more risks now. It's a pandemic. Why would you make them take less money? But it's exactly that. If those stadiums aren't filled and the fans say, you know what, this is a better product on TV, because now you don't have the in-game commercials, right? Or like, the between play commercials. You don't have this and that. Yeah. It's just the game.
Right.
There's no fan shots or anything like that. Everything just has to be the game. Now all of a sudden it's going to be just the TV deal that makes everybody the money, because fans are like, you know what, I'll just watch this on TV. Like, yeah, if I go to a game here or there, that'll be fine, but I'm not going to have season tickets. Why bother? Yeah. I can watch all the games here.
And I think this comes, it comes down to owners being, well, there aren't many owners that I hold in high praise for a lot of these teams.
No,
really. Because here we go. So here we are, and I don't know what it is in other countries, so I can only speak for the way it goes in the United States. There's one stadium that has been built, but that is currently used and owned by a professional team, or has the rights to, whatever the fuck you want to call it, that was built by the owner's money alone, and it just got built. And that's it. Everything else is built by either the city or the state.
Mm-hmm.
And that's with taxpayer money. But they make all the profit off of it.
Right. And they it's all a game anyway, because they say, oh, we'll provide all these jobs back to the economy. People have to work the gate and work the stadium while we do it. And then they contract it out to these companies that give it to. So like I know my wife's been involved in that, and several rugby clubs have volunteered to go and work the concession stands. And the club gets like $100 a person, not even, maybe like $60 a person, depending on how many. And it's like, yeah, you bring 12 people, and it's the clubs, the teams are making all that money off of the concessions, but they're paying out dirt because it's all just for, donations to charity, tax write-offs. So they're not even doing what they say they're going to do. But the owners are making bank off of it, like Jerry World down in Dallas. If that stadium suddenly becomes worthless because fans decide they don't really need to go to a game, that his multi-billion-dollar organization is now only worth $1 billion.
Right.
And now we have to feel bad for Jerry
built,
Jones.
He built like basically a high school football stadium with the money that he got from being the Dallas Cowboys owner, basically.
Right.
And that's the practice facility that they have down there. It passes as a pretty damn nice high school football stadium, which is ridiculous to think about. So it's and for me, it's like, here's the other thing: live sport experience. I can't say that football is at the top of my list. NFL football.
Oh, it's not. It's a terrible game to go to live. It's horrible.
I have to say I got a little more rowdy at a New England Revolution game than I did at an NFL game, because the atmosphere that those types of fans bring is there's a lot of chanting, there's a lot of singing, there's a lot of good energy being put out by some of these fans. Whereas at NFL, good Lord, if you don't hear a fuck you every 5 seconds, good God.
Yeah. Well, and it's also like, it's incredibly aggressive, but it also changes depending on the who's got possession or where the ball is and all this stuff. There's times when it's like, okay, now you have to cheer. Now you have to be quiet. Like there's a little bit of that. Right. And then there's like, but you don't know any information. Like I was at a game where a starting quarterback broke his ribs and nobody knew in the stands because they didn't really say anything.
I want to know that shit.
But like, right. So it's like, hey, where'd that guy go? And like, I don't know. And then you don't find out till you're like on the drive home and you're like, oh, so-and-so broke his ribs. And it's like, oh, well, fucking somebody could have told us. Like,
right. I was at a Michigan football game and the guy that was supposed to be their quarterback coming up this year tore his ACL. And I didn't know that. I was like, when did he do that on that touchdown run? Like he like dove for the corner and fucked it up then, I guess. But yeah, so for me, that's not a fun one. I like the baseball atmosphere only because it's relaxed. It's not super intense, and you can talk to your friend, have a beer, watch the game.
Super chill. Cool. Yeah,
it's super chill, and I'm into that. I'm good with that. I'm not a huge NBA fan, but the one NBA game I went to was pretty fun.
Yeah,
I won't say that's wrong. Hockey, sign me
fantastic.
Up. I am all about that shit. And then I've been to. I was lucky enough to go to a rugby match.
Yes, we were.
I've been to one.
Right.
I've been to a pretty cool one that was at the World Cup in London.
Yeah, fine, whatever. Fuck off.
I mean, I had a semi.
Dude, we went to the Sarries match in New Jersey.
That was also fun. That was also fun. That match was so much fun. We were sitting behind two. This is also the same weekend I asked my wife to marry me. We were sitting behind two Sarries fans, and they were so into it. And I was like, "Yes, this is so much fun!" It was just two guys that were really into it, but there was the rest of the section was pretty into it too. Yes, there wasn't a great attendance, but man, everybody was into it. Right. Everybody wanted one thing to. They played London Irish, which everybody in New York was like, "Oh, I'm Irish. I'm going to go cheer for them." I'm like, "You're a fucking idiot," but that's fine. They lost anyway, so it didn't matter. But yeah, the Saracens fans, they were so much fun.
And the crowd, I went to the actually to see TT when he was playing for the Eagles against the Maori All Blacks.
Right.
Down in Philly. That was a fantastic experience. Much better attended than the Sarries match, but you'd expect that with it being the Eagles.
The Eagles, yeah, right.
And I saw friends from like all over the Eastern Seaboard at this match, and that was the one where we were doing the USA chant during the haka.
Right. That's fun.
And some Americans were like, "Oh no, is that wrong?" And even the Kiwis were like, "No, that was great."
That's what they want because who is it that the box will sing "Ole" and the English will sing "Swing Low." Okay. So yeah,
they just make a giant V and walk towards them.
Oh, that's what France does.
That's what the U.S. did.
Oh, did they do it too?
Not the U.S. I'm sorry, that's what England did. Sorry, England did that.
Oh, England also did that. That's true. That is true. Yeah, because France did that the previous World Cup as well.
Okay.
In the final, they got fined for it, but that's right.
Well, so did England.
Yes, they did because they crossed the line. That's why.
Right.
So, there's a lot of good in-game experiences out there. There are some sports owners that I think should be prepared to take a hit. I don't know if they will, but I think I wouldn't be shocked.
All of them should. Sorry, like
Oh
especially
yeah,
it's your it's your players. Like you don't have a team without the players. This is what you signed up for. Like pay your players. Sorry if you have this league circumstances change, but I mean most sports the salary cap's based around the TV deal anyway. So everything else is just over, just on top of what they're already earning. So it's already a license to print money. So I don't really want to hear it about owners. Oh, we might not make as much money this year, or I might lose a little bit of money.
Oh, you won't make $1 billion this year? Right. Please let me play you the world's smallest violin.
Right.
Fuck you, dude.
Super fucking sorry. Must be fucking nice.
It must be fucking nice. Yeah. So, sorry, owners, if you have rugby struggles only because it's a new sport, but like NFL football, go fuck yourself. Sorry.
Yeah.
You guys have got more money than God knows what. So please spare me. Even the freaking crappy teams have a shitload of money. So get out of here. Go on. There's no threat of relegation. You make money no matter what because it's all shared.
Look at us. Our mood is obviously not terribly softened during this time.
No, it hasn't changed a whole lot.
I think we're both super extra grumpy right now. This has been great.
We gotta let it out, man. I'm telling you.
Fuck all of you people out there. No, just you're all annoying me. I can't see you or talk to you.
Fuck you.
You're cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, this is true. All right, so we got rugby on the return, man.
Yeah.
We got rugby on the return. It's on the horizon. We got New Zealand rugby kicking off.
I can't wait.
Beginning of next month. It's going to be a
lot
of fun.
Action there.
Australia rugby could be joining them as well. It looks like.
Think if the Highlanders, took the time to kind of pull their heads out of their asses, this could be the best 5-team division ever. Because shit, those teams are good.
Especially with the speed demon that is Bowden Barrett.
Oh yeah, crushing that Bronco.
Yep.
I think he's ready to play again, huh?
I think the long layoff. I think the long layoff has done something to spice it up for him. Big
so the
time.
Blues are back.
They
could be a sneaky favorite.
Yeah, they could be
because they were good without him.
They could be quite good.
Yeah.
They got the Ioane brothers and him, and as long as they. Oh wait, we're missing one piece there though.
And Marchant
no, they don't have anybody to give the ball to their guys.
Well, there's that too.
There's a small problem there. I hope Sam
You're going to take that ball and you're going to put it right fucking there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. That's all you do.
That's all you have to do. So it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
I am too.
It's going to be a lot of fun to watch these 5 teams go at it. Obviously, my Hurricanes are going to be chomping at the bit. They got and they might get Artie back, which would be awesome.
Wow, that was oh wow, yeah, they could.
Yeah, remember because we were like, oh, Artie's not going to play this year, and then it's
it's been 8 months,
Corona.
Right? Yeah,
yeah, that was So they could get Artie Surveyor back, which he'll probably play 8, which means everybody else needs to look the hell out.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. And then, like I said, Australia could be back. I don't know if the Sunwolves got approved to play in that league or not. They wanted to.
Right.
They wanted to. I know that. So I don't know if they got approved in that or not.
If they could, yeah.
I think that'd be a great final. I mean, this would be a shitty final year for that franchise. Jeez. I'd feel terrible for them. So hopefully that gets going. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see a lot of Premiership rugby the rest of the year or Champions Cup. I think we're going to see the season end as is, either without a champion and with the Saracens getting relegated only because that was a previously decided matter, or they may just crown an Exeter champion with an asterisk, whatever, which would be ironic as shit.
It would be.
Because that's what Tony Rowe keeps friggin' bitching about the Saracens. It should have an asterisk. Fuck you.
And there's your own.
Guess what? You get one.
Although I mean, come on, with their new open style of play, they were going to win.
I think they were going to win. I think they were going to win too. I think I would have been curious.
Northampton could have given him a challenge a little bit.
I would have really been curious to see who gave him a shot at the final, because that would have been a very interesting match.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, I don't. It is unfortunate, but yeah, I don't think we'll see that. I think the Champions Cup will be vacant, and you're going to see people figure out. It's going to be up to the leagues to determine who goes into Champions Cup.
Yeah,
next year. I think they may just take the current standings, and which if you just fell out of the Champions Cup spot in the last couple of weeks, that sucks. But
it does.
There's a lot of leagues. There's a lot of soccer leagues that are making those types of decisions right now, and some teams are very upset. Some teams were in the relegation spot or relegation spots because some leagues have more than one. They were in that spot for no more than a week or two, and it's like,
I mean, look at that. Means Bath. Oh, Bath would make the Champions Cup over Queens.
Interesting. Oh, really? That'd be too bad. With the Queens having the number
and,
7.
And Queens at 7, Gloucester at 9.
Oh, wow. No Gloucester, huh?
No.
So what would it look like? 1 to 6.
1 through 6. Chiefs, Sharks, Bears, Saints, Wasps, and Bath.
Wasps would get back in that, eh? Interesting. Yeah. I mean, they are a previous champion before, so it's not like it would be an unusual sight to see Wasp back in there.
No, but I mean they're also at 6 and 7, which is crazy.
Right. That mid table from like 3 all the way down to like freaking 9 was like 8 points.
Yeah.
Almost. It was ridiculous. It was
right. So if you look at 38 to 28 from 3 till 8.
So 10 points.
And then but 5 to 11 5 to 9 is all within 7 points.
Wow. So those were all within earshot of a Champions Cup spot. Yuck.
Yeah.
That sucks. Well, I mean, listen, nobody expected this.
No, it's not and you kind of roll with it. Like that hey, you want to be in the Champions Cup, you got to like be there now.
Yeah.
Like that's you can't really complain too much about that.
Yeah. Don't flop so hard in the middle of your season.
Gloucester. I mean, Gloucester being 4 and 9
is a bit of a head scratcher. I'll give you that one.
Right. And only 268 points for.
That's not what they did last year.
No.
That's not what got them there last year. That was
Exeter have 390 points for. And
they learned how to turn it on.
Hold on, let me see if I can find the previous year. Exeter scored 630 the year before. Okay. So they're still a little bit on pace. Gloucester
on pace
scored,
to do a little better. Yeah.
Yeah, 587.
Wow.
And 587 to 268. Yeah, that's in more than double the games.
Yeah. That's not a good rate for them.
No.
Not in terms of that, at least. Let's see. How much time we've been on this thing?
A little under an hour.
Okay. That's a can of worms that I'm not going to open then. We will be back for more recently because in the near future because we will have rugby soon and it'll be so much fun to finally watch rugby on the telly again because I've been watching replays and
I've been watching replays at the club and it's
been bored. I've been bored out of my. It's been for me because I've been watching with my high school kids.
Mm-hmm.
God. Can I just give Brookline High School Rugby a shout out? The seniors that did not get a season this year.
Absolutely.
Oh man, and all the kids in Massachusetts and rugby worldwide that didn't get a senior season this year.
And any sport. Let's be inclusive here.
Yeah,
because it sucks. I've been walking around the neighborhood seeing a lot of seniors 2020 softball and some other seasons, and I'm just like, that would suck if that was what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. If I had lost my senior year football season,
I know,
co-captain, all that stuff, I would have been that would have. Oh yeah, so my heart does go out to
kids like that. Yeah,
the kids, Ferda.
Yeah. I'll give one of my captains, Kobe, a little special mention. He's started our top side for this would have been 4 years for him. All 4 years of high school, and if you're not from this country, you don't know how hard that fucking is for the sport. Start for 4 years and be good. He's been good for the first 3 years. He would have been good this year too. So
absolutely, good.
Special mention to my captain Kobe because I love him. He's a great kid, and I feel terrible that
I've seen him play a couple times, and he's. I mean, look, he's ready for the next level, but at the same time, like there's the experience of being one of the few that's ready. And being one of the few that's ready for that. Like, it's so much fun.
Yeah, he's going to Iowa Community College, I think. It's Division I AA.
All right.
So here, which is, high-ish level in college, not top level, but still pretty high. He's gonna have a great time there, and he's gonna do some damage. And
yeah, he is.
I'm now the biggest fan of that school right now. So it'll be a lot of fun. But so just a little mention to that. Other than that, this is good. I'm glad we got back to this.
Me too.
Rugby is coming. It's gonna be so much fun. Until we do next time. Anything else that I missed?
Nothing for now.
Okay.
Stay safe out there, everyone.
Yeah, please.
Be smart. Don't be fucking dumb. Be smart.
No being dumb.
Because the dumber people, like, let me get this out of my system a second.
Go ahead.
But the people, you see all the people at these reopen things and all these people going to the beach and shit like that. It's people like that are ended up taking these, like kids like Kobe's season, who are like, we whatever we want to do matters, and that doesn't, whatever. They're going to keep this disease going in this country and make sure that even more people are affected. Not only, sports wise, but it's going to kill people. Like, this is which
is way worse.
Right. But we're just not going to see sport until these people decide, life's not going to return to normal until these people decide to
pull their heads
act responsibly.
Yeah, for sure. Pull your finger out of your ass. No, I agree. Yeah, we need to be smart. Wash your hands. Wear a goddamn mask. Stay inside when you can.
Right. Don't go out unless you need to.
And don't be a fucking moron unless you absolutely 100% have to go somewhere.
Right.
Okay. All right. So other than that, we will catch you next time. We'll try it. Yeah. Good stuff. We'll catch you guys probably in a couple weeks when we get a little bit closer to the kickoff of more rugby, and it'll be a lot of fun, and we're gonna enjoy the hell out of this as much as we can now that we know it's a gift. It's no longer something we can take for granted. It's a gift. So until then, we will talk to you guys again. Thank you so much for coming along, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.
Later.